really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, and click the bell to be notified of more fantastic music content just like this. Welcome to the Need to Know Music Show with me, Ronan McManus, here on Switchbox TV. And today I'm joined by the lead vocalist of Eva Under Fire, who is known for her powerful vocals, and the band have got hooky songs and they're just a brilliant, powerful band. And I'm so delighted to be joined by Amanda Lyberg. How are you doing?
I'm awesome, my friend. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good. We were just talking before I started this about rolling with the punches in 2020, and we were just saying it's been a crazy year so far. I'm assuming plans got ruined, things have been reset up. Tell us a little bit about this year so far for you guys.
Oh yeah, hard reset, real quick, right? It was like we had all of these wonderful things happening, and then they weren't. In like 3 seconds, the whole world got shut down. We were actually, as a band, in Manhattan at the time of the shutdown. So it was really bizarre to see Times Square as a ghost town. You know, I just
God, I mean, the city finally slept.
Right. Yeah, right. Everybody was just like, all of a sudden everything was offline and everyone was off the streets, and we were in our homes expecting the next, I don't know, global catastrophe, which is unfortunately exactly what happened. And I think though, I'm very fortunate to have the guys on my team that I have. My band has been incredible support through this whole thing. The label's been an incredible support through this whole thing. We were ready to, come out like gangbusters with our brand new record. And then all of a sudden the world wasn't ready. So we had to hold off for a bit on touring, on release schedule. But the label still had these really amazing films that they felt the world needed, regardless of the virus, right, to release it. So our music got to be part of those. One of them is due to release in 2021, so you'll be hearing more about that. But the other song, I'm sure you've heard about, our new song Heroine, is on the soundtrack for Snow Babies and that film, which was just released in September, and it's incredible. So we've been actually very fortunate to still have some music in the world in 2020 as a new band. So that's
trying to get some sort of creative outlet in this one's been tough. But let's talk a little bit about Snow Babies, because it's it's about addiction and recovery, and that is a subject close to my heart. I'm 3 years sober, and I know it's a subject very close to your heart too. Tell us a little bit about your involvement and the song and your experience.
Yeah, heavy, but needed, so needed. And congratulations to you, 3 years clean. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Cheers.
You're very welcome. So Snow Babies is a film that is a cautionary tale about the horrors that occur when addiction arises out of nowhere, right? And it's something that is least expected, but I feel like so many people don't know what it looks like. So it's hard to ask questions. It's hard to know when you just get blindsided, right? So this story is how you can still notice the signs. When you get blindsided, what do you look for, right? And to be paying attention, right? Because and I know very well that people that are in addiction, full-blown addiction, are not going to tell you their secrets, and it's very difficult for them to go there. And they want to keep everything under the wraps. I don't want anyone to know. It's a very secretive world, which can be difficult for loved ones to even get a chance to see what's really going on. Snow Babies has a very impactful moment at the end that is about recovery. But the full story is a cautionary tale about, falling down that rabbit hole. And I want to make that clear only because for people in recovery, it's important for them to realize this is not Hollywood's film. This is a very, very real interpretation of what addiction can look like. So trigger warning for real to those that are in recovery. But it's so needed. I've seen so much reaction and response that we wanted from this film. My song is one that we first wrote in the studio for the new record. It was months after I had lost my father to overdose. I was in the studio in tears, just penning my heart out with this song. And I had no idea what the label's intention would be with it. As a matter of fact, when we wrote it, it was real heavy content. I wasn't even sure if it would make the record. We weren't even like convinced that this was going to happen.
You thought it'd be too. Did you think it'd be too near the knuckle, too real?
Yeah. And for me, I'm not focusing on vocal hooks. I'm not focusing on, oh, I want this to be the next radio hit. This is my story, right? This is like my diary. I just wrote it out and sent it in. And I was like on pins and needles waiting for, the response. And then our label rep gives us a call and says, hey, I know the record is like not even close to completion yet, but we need this song for the Snow Babies soundtrack. There's this film we have. It's an incredible story. You guys basically just wrote the perfect song for it. And my heart went through my chest. And I was like on the call in tears. I'm literally telling this man at the label, I know you don't know me yet, but thank you so much. Right? This means so much to me. It was written in the stars. It really was.
I mean, it's a powerful, powerful chorus, and it really, you can see your passion, and it's obviously coming from really directly inside you, And I love the phrase that I read that you're using, "recovery is real," because that's the ultimate outcome out of all of this, is that there is a way back. The redemption is possible. Recovery is real. Was just a brilliant phrase. Is that? I mean, is that something? Is that a phrase that's used all the time? I don't know if that is. I don't know. It seems like it should be.
Yeah, it's probably it's one of those popular hashtags that I found on socials, but it's one that spoke to me because and I don't know that I was only able to tell one side of my story with this song. But the full scope was that both of my parents were addicted, heroin addicts, and my mom made it and my dad didn't. So it was one of those really dichotomous situations where I see both. I see both. And her life is forever changed. She's been just over 2 years clean, and her life is much, I mean, it's not close to death. I'll tell you that. It's much better now. And things are, she's living as a person in society that feels valued and that feels worth it, and I just can't imagine not living that way. But for my mother, of course I wanted that for her. But the difference is that she wanted it for her and she got it.
It's great. You've lived both sides of that story, and that's just, I mean, congratulations on the song, because it's a powerful song. But I was interested to talk about your musical beginnings, and I'm what was it like getting started in music, and kind of what age were you when you started to kind of really start taking music, thinking that music could be a way for you to go as a career?
Yeah, it's weird that you asked that question. I didn't ever really think this would be the career, right? It's always been more of a passion for me. It's like a compulsion. Like I can't control it. This is just what I do, and it's who I am. And so somehow that landed me a record deal. But thank you again, those awesome bandmates I was telling you about that have been the support and the whole backbone this whole time. But I just never not sang. When I was 6, I started writing my first songs. When I was 11, I started doing community theater and singing around my hometown. But it was all pop oriented. I never felt cool enough for rock music. I really didn't. I grew up on rock music. My parents were young parents, so I grew up on all their stuff: AC/DC, Metallica, just Led Zeppelin. Then later on, even Alice in Chains, and that was all. You know, I was a '90s kid, but like I was a kid. That wasn't really my music. You know, I grew up in the pop world, and but I never had that type of range. And it wasn't until my friend was dating this guy in high school, and she said, "Hey, he's got a band and you should go sing for them." And I was like, "Oh, no. That's not even, I don't even know if that would be possible. I don't know what that would look like." She was like, "No, for real. Like you've gotta go and try out for this band." So I was like, "Okay." She was like, "It's fine. They're cool. It's fine." And I show up there and they've got all their little like half stacks and this big, huge drum kit. And I'd never sang. I have no instrumental talent. So I was always a cappella. Right. So it's weird for me to actually start playing with musicians because my pitch is naturally just me. Right. It's just I have good pitch, which I'm grateful for, but I never had any musical reference. So to jam with other people, it was like a light bulb that went off. I was hooked instantly. I was like, this is so cool. This is what people have been doing this whole time in rock music. Are you kidding? And then I got to know rock for what it was a little bit, for me, right? It wasn't just the fun party 80s music that my parents listened to. It was like raw and emotional and real. And then, you know, new metal happened and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. So I really did. I fell down the rabbit hole in that way. I started singing in bands when I was 16 and I've just never stopped.
I feel like it's like you're like you can see the release and the passion and the just all out, just it's just you're all in, you know, on those big notes and those big choruses. But then those vulnerable moments where you bring it back again, and it's just and that sort of I found that listening to your stuff, but I really went with you on that journey of in and out of that big and then small still, you know, being able to do that well that's a real art as well. I mean, when you have that. I know it's maybe a teasing you to ask you about live moments when we're not allowed to do any, but those times on live gigs where you're kind of there's a big moments and the small moments and all that. What's that? I mean, was that a real? Is that feels like it's gonna? I'm really preempting your answer here, but I feel like it's something that you're really
You're
good
absolutely
at, that you could really do.
It's its own pull. You'll never feel anything like it. You're absolutely right. And I know what you're getting at because the very first time that I was ever on stage at a big event, I was 17 and we opened the local stage at Warped Tour. And it was just the local Detroit Warped Tour, by the way. I wasn't on the tour. There was nothing, right? We played across the street from where the event was actually happening, next to all of the merchandise tables for the real bands. Me being a teenager, I didn't care, right? These people, and you remember Warped Tour, they were lined up at the gate from like 9 a.m, right? Waiting. So there's hundreds of people. None of the bigger bands have started yet. These people are just looking for a show. And I was there to give it to them. I was so excited. I was like, we were like pushed over in the corner with some flats, like just, you know, there wasn't no stage. It was just like a couple of like regular flats shoved together in a corner. And that was the local stage. But I'll tell you this, we were halfway through the first song and I looked and there was just, we went from people just milling around at the merch tables to like 300 people at a standstill, just waiting for me to say something. So I looked at all these people just backing up the aisleway, right? And I did one of these, hands up. And they were like, yeah. I was like, this is what I need. This is everything. This is life right now. I didn't know that rock music people just want to be part of the show. They're so passionate and they're just aggressive by nature. And if you've ever been to a metal show, I'm sure you look like a guy that's been to a metal show. But there's these rules in the pit, right? Like you can pit all you want to, but like if someone falls, you pick them back up. And that's just like, that's the heart of music, man. We're all there to rage together, but it will be together. And you will either respect that or get kicked out. So probably by the big guy that wants to like like, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've been saved from a mosh pit. People are like, we're crowd surfing you out of here. You know, it's just metal and rock music as a culture. You just don't get better than that. It's just so, I can't wait till we get back to live shows. You can probably tell by the way I talk about it. I hope that answered your question.
You just, yeah, absolutely did. Yeah, you just sort of, you completely light up then. I was like, yes, that's that's it. So that was the moment you thought, I'm doing this. I'm doing this for life. Yeah, I'm in.
Right. I'm like, so what was it? Pay my bills, I just can't put this down at this point. But we're ready.
Yeah. So what was it like getting the first album done? That's called Anchors, correct? Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. So the very first Anchors album that we did was just independent. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because some of those songs, I mean, just shockingly to me, had staying power on the internet. We wrote a song called Drift, and it was the real pretty ballad from that album. And we thought, okay, let's put some marketing behind this, just on our little own independent selves, and just see what people really think about it once we can have this, you know, visible. And that was our first indication that we were onto something. We had people, I mean, we're from Detroit, Michigan, and all the way down to Texas, which is 20 hours from home and back. We had people that were sending us messages about how much they loved the song. And we had this whole campaign of people that were like sending us pictures, holding the signs, "We love Drift, come to," wherever their hometown was, right? It was crazy. It was crazy. So we did. We went on a little 10-day DIY kind of thing, just to see if we could survive together in a van, and B, see how far we could take this, you know. And we did. We got 23 hours from home, and people had like purchased our t-shirts and were showing up at the bar gig that we were playing with our t-shirts 20 hours from home.
Fantastic. What did that feel like?
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
Oh, it was insane. I've never, so the other thing that I love about playing live is when people know your stuff and they'll sing it back to you. That is the biggest moment for connection on a massive scale. I've never seen anything like it. It's like I pour my heart into these songs, but when you people sing it back to me, I know you hear me. I know you hear me. Yeah. I know we hear each other. I know that you get it. You feel it. This is a vibe, right? And that's that human connection that's just so important to me with music in general, whether I'm just out there to party and we're having a great time together, or this is something that's meaningful and I need you to hear me. It's amazing to me what kind of gaps that bridges. So for us to be 20 hours from home, just independently doing our thing, it was crazy. And they're singing the songs. I had 20 people in a bar in like Houston singing my songs. I'm from Detroit. I'm like, do you people know how far away from home I am?
But your sound seemed in place from that very first record. The sound's kind of there, isn't it? I mean, you've often find with many bands that you kind of, there's a development, you can hear the development through you know the albums, but it's right there from the very first song.
Thank you.
I mean, was that by design, or did it just click? I mean, what's
we're vibey people in general, the five of us, my guys and myself that are Eva Under Fire. When we get in a room and we jam together, it's just this passionate little thing that we usually kind of find ourselves in, whatever vibey sort of maybe power ballad moment, where that's just how it comes together most often. My rhythm guitar player is super impacted by Deftones, is one of his favorite bands. Deftones for my drummer too. We've got some like synth crazy left field stuff that my bass player is into, and then my other guitar player picked up the guitar because of Metallica. So like all of us kind of have our influences, that this is just sort of where
the bass player is always a trouble one. He's always a trouble one, the bass player.
Oh yeah, he's out there.
It's weird, right? Synth stuff for the bass player. It's just like
bass players are the weird ones. We get it. It's fine. Every single one of us is an oddball, or we wouldn't be in rock music. So we
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we fit it into life normally, if we fit into life normally, we'd be in offices, but we're not. So
Right. Yeah, no, and that's, even my my lead guitar player, Rob, he's like, oftentimes, what is his saying? Oh, I feel like a square peg in a round hole most days, right? And it's just this
Yeah.
concept of like, we don't fit, but we don't need to. And that's okay, because there's a ton of other people out there just like us. They're all at the rock shows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, so, and I think for a lot of our stuff over the course of these three, the two albums and the EP, and then what's coming, I can't wait till you hear the brand new record, but what's coming, is that it did get a little bit more produced, a little bit bigger, a little bit more powerful, which is fun. We also experimented a little bit more with the fun side of ourselves. Just the different things that we wrote about, having bringing in that positive energy into our music was really a cool adventure. So you'll hear more of that on the new record. But yeah, our older stuff is very vibey, very aggressive, very like some punk influence, some pop influence, which we've kind of kept up with on the new record. It just feels bigger. So I'm excited for you to hear it.
Absolutely. There was one track which I really that really stood out on the 2018 EP. I didn't write it down now. It's my bad. But there was one. It was like a ballad, and it was just really nice melody. It was like it's completely sort of different to what you'd done before, and it really stuck out because it was such a beautiful, almost just a straightforward pop song, really. What song is that I'm talking about? Yeah.
Are you talking about The Strong?
Maybe,
Did
yeah. I think it had a really like. I think it was track 3 on the EP, 2018 EP.
It was my power ballad for sure.
That was just.
Have you seen the music video?
I haven't. No, I didn't see that. No, we'll put a link to that in the description.
And you need to check out. Yes, you need to check out the music video because it's amazing. Our cinematographers are second to none. They really helped us build the whole story around it, because that's what they heard in my lyrics. So we made it a campaign for anti-bullying and anti-suicide, for suicide awareness. And you'll find this a lot for our music. We always stand behind these mental health sort of narratives, and part of that is because we truly believe in it. Part of it's because we've all been affected, and part of it's because I'm a therapist as well. So it's just all of the combination of factors. Yeah.
What do we?
So that's. Yeah.
So I lie back. I'll slide back and just.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I mean. That's what
fantastic.
music does for us, right? That's our therapy, right?
Does that give you then a different sort of perspective into these things, then into tackling that gives you another look into the human being, I suppose, is that something that affects you, comes through in your music then?
Definitely. The human experience has always been something that's just fascinated me, right? Because I mean, I think when you're just you, then you start to look around you and go, who am I really? Do I like this path? What am I doing? And why am I doing it? Right. And I'm asking all these questions, and it seems sort of bizarre, but like, that's what I got into psych for. I really wanted to figure out my own brain. And in doing so, I thought about what it's like for other people to just have another kind of like, I guess, woke human in their presence that's just able to let's just be human together and figure out this whole mess. And I get to do that one-on-one with therapy, and I get to do that with massive amounts of people in music. So it's like two sides of the coin to me.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, I must book you for a session because I mean I do therapy and things like that. I have sessions. I've had depression, anxiety, and I've sort of, that's very close to my heart, all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely it's so good to keep talking about this stuff and to keep awareness up with all this stuff. And I think there's been so many positive movements in the last few years to try to break down those taboos and it's fantastic that you're using music to keep that conversation going. So important.
I agree with you. I think it's one of the most visible platforms when you're an entertainer and you're speaking to a lot of people who get it, especially in rock music, right? There's a lot of emotion that's in rock and roll. And why wouldn't we address that? We're all here for a reason. There's so many people that experience, just like you said, anxiety, depression, substance use disorder. There's all kinds of things, but then also we can share those moments, but yet share different ones too. Excitement, the raw, real nature of a rock show, get together and have a great time. We can do all of that too, because it's all part of it. It's all part of the human experience.
And I think it's also music bands. I mean, with other bands, I think that the mistake a lot of people make is they think bands are all competitive, but I never really found that. I found that when you're in bands and you're playing with you meet other bands on the road, or you're doing gigs together, it's a real sense of camaraderie than rivalry.
I agree
and
with
I think
you.
that's all part of it.
Yeah, it's a scene, right? So like the
Yeah.
crowd in rock music embodies this, right? We were talking about like the pit rules, right? If somebody falls, you pick them up. Yeah, bands do this too. And I think that for those people who are more interested in the rivalry side of things, like, look at you, man. Like you don't need to focus on that. The rest of this small world, because I'm finding that rock and roll is a small world, is very build you up, let's build each other up. And maybe there's some competitive component, but only in the sense that I want to be my best and I want you to be your best. What else is there?
So what's the new record? When are we likely to hear? We've got, I mean, Heroine, I love the idea with the brackets either it's there, I love that. Two different meanings of the word heroin, different spellings. But so we've got that single that's out now. People can go check that out now. When are we likely to hear more new music? Because it sounds like you're just absolutely itching just to throw this out into the world. So when are we gonna get the next installment?
Am I that obvious with all my jittery movements over here? Can you see it all over my? It's written all over my face.
You're vibrating.
If I have to sit here on this couch for 2 more minutes, yeah. So hopefully, and fingers crossed, and I need everybody's positive energy for this. Looking forward to a Spring Tower new album. That's really, obviously with the state of the world right now, right? We make our plans, but we're not really sure exactly what those plans, when they'll come into fruition and how we're going to be able to get back out there. But just know that our label is wonderful and they have not forgotten about us, and you'll get your new music soon from Eva Under Fire.
And how can people keep in touch? You're on all the socials and all that kind of stuff. You're on all that, across all that social media and
all of that.
All that stuff, so people can tune into that.
Yeah. If you want some behind the scenes access to all of our Eva Under Fire shenanigans, you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. If you would like to stream our music, which is the biggest help for us, honestly, go to Spotify, stream everything by Eva Under Fire, especially our new song Heroine,
and follow follow.
Yes,
and follow you. That's the big thing. Follow.
Yes, hit the follow button on every single platform that you possibly can. Spotify, where you can actually, all of the proceeds, this is something important to mention, all of the proceeds, if you purchase the Snow Babies film, and our music is also on the soundtrack, those proceeds go to the Global Recovery Initiatives Foundation to get more access to more recovery resources for people in early recovery. So if they would go and I believe the Snow Babies movie, you can get that on like Amazon Prime is one of the platforms that you can go to. So check us out, hit us up on Amazon also, because all of that money goes to a wonderful cause.
We'll put a link to that also in the description of this, so people can go click that straight away and go to it. Before we go, I wanted to ask you about, we always ask for a recommendation of a band or an artist that people should check out. and who would be your recommendation? Could be someone. It could be someone that's influenced you over the years. It could be someone new or someone you know you'd like to give a shout out to, or how we can take it whichever way you want to take it. But who would you recommend people should check out?
Honestly, recently found these guys. The band is called Slaves, Slaves. And they used to have super heavy type material, and now they've gone super poppy, and they're like synth and produced, but it's killer. There's a ton of really, really good stuff in there, kind of reminiscent in some ways of like a Bring Me the Horizon, which is sweet. And then we've got some new friends that are actually on our label too. So you should hit up Better Noise Music and check out all of those artists, because some of us are the up and comers, and then other ones are obviously the heavy hitters that we all know and love. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Any and all recommendations to us also I'm always interested to see who people want us to go play live with, because as you can tell, I'm really excited to play live again whenever we have that opportunity. So please message us and tell us who you want us to appear with, because that'd be amazing. So I'll leave that option open too. I'll give you the recommendation. Now you guys give me some.
Nicely done. I like it. And also, as soon as we're allowed to get shows going, jump on a plane and come and see us, because it'd be fantastic to have you over in London.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea how many people have told us, like just the handful that we've met that are either from the UK or they know about London. They're like, dude, you guys, rock scenes are not what they are over there. You guys have to go to the UK. I'm like, for real? So I'd be super excited, and I'm gonna tell Jamie that we have our official invite now. Thank you.
You do. You can stay on my couch.
Awesome. I got a space.
Got a space. That's it. Done. Job done. All right. Listen, thank you so much for joining us, and I can't wait to hear the new stuff. It sounds that you're really excited for it, and it sounds like that it just as soon as the world allows you, I wish you all the success with it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And rest assured, when the world is ready, we will be too. We'll see you soon.
Fantastic.